Today we are here for championship case number 11. That is right. We're going to talk about someone who actually just won a race down in Brazil, NASCAR's Brazil Series, Daniel Suárez. This is not a prediction. We do this for all the playoff drivers. Tomorrow is Austin Cindric, and then that'll be it for a while because only 12 guys have clinched. But let's focus on Daniel Suárez today. He does have a win this season. That's how he's locked himself into the playoffs. He won at Atlanta in a thrilling three-wide photo finish. He has 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 43 lap sled, and no stage wins, so only the 5 playoff points. And, the only way he's getting playoff points is from a win or a stage win because he is 17th in the points, over 140 points behind 10th in the point standing. So if he's not mathematically eliminated from the top 10, from getting to the top 10, he's about to be because he's not really close. So Daniel Suárez's championship case, you'd usually think it'd be a complicated one. In the past, it would be. He's only won one race this year. He's 17th in the points. Going to the playoffs, he doesn't have a lot of playoff points. He's going to have to finish well in every race. Well, I tell you what, the way the playoff schedule sets up this year, it's possible for Daniel Suárez to make the round of 8. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to say that he's favored to make the round of 8. That would be reaching for sure. But Daniel Suárez to the round of 8 is not a crazy possibility the way this schedule lines up. And this first round especially is not that bad. We go to Atlanta, where he's the most recent winner. We go to Watkins Glen, a road course where he has multiple top 5s. And then we go to Bristol. So let's look at Atlanta first. As I said, Daniel Suárez is your most recent winner. He has 4 top 10s in the 5 races that we have run at this new Atlanta Super Speedway. 3 of those have been top 5s. So Daniel Suárez, the other finish is a 29th. He was a part of a crash, but he knows how to run up front there. He knows how to get to the front. He knows how to be there at the end, and he's going to have to do that. He doesn't have a lot of points. He can't afford a bad race. If he can finish up in the top 10, that's a great start. Score some stage points there. That's a very good possibility considering his numbers at this track. Then we go to Watkins Glen. And Watkins Glen has been one of Daniel Suárez's better road courses. Now remember, Daniel Suárez has a NASCAR win on a road course in the Cup Series at Sonoma 2 years ago. So he knows how to get it done on the road courses. He's gotten close to winning at Indianapolis. He's got multiple top 5s at Watkins Glen, 3 top 5s to be exact. He's led laps at Watkins Glen. He's won a stage at Watkins Glen. So Watkins Glen, I think a top 10 is a legit possibility. Top 5 may be tough because we're going to have guys up there like Larson, Byron, Bell, even guys like Michael McDowell. They're going to be tough to beat. So a top 5 could be tough, but I think a top 10 for sure is possible for Daniel Suárez. Now, Trackhouse has not been themselves this year. Suárez is 17th in the points. Chastain's like 14th. 13th, and he's out of the playoffs right now, or if he's not, he's barely in. And they have not had the speed on the normal ovals, the intermediates, the short tracks, but the road courses and super speedways, they've still had a flicker of hope, a flicker of life. We saw the win, obviously, as I said, at Atlanta. But Suárez has top 10s at road courses this year, so it's possible. It's possible that he could top 10 these first 2 races, maybe even get a top 5 at one of them, and they could be in a decent points position heading into Bristol. But I will say Bristol, his numbers aren't great. It's been 8 races since he's gotten the top 10 there, and he only has 2 top 10s in his career at Bristol. So Bristol has not been his greatest track. But if other people have problems, if he can squeak out a top 15 maybe he can get into that second round. So I think a top 10 in the first 2 races is going to be necessary, even a top 5 in one of those. This third race, you can't afford a wreck. You can't afford a mechanical problem, but you can afford a worse day compared to those first 2. Get yourself a top 15, top 20 maybe, and I think you can squeak on to the next round. Second round, not as favorable. We have another super speedway and road course, which helps Suárez's case because ultimately, those have been his better tracks this year, and the road courses have been the best tracks of his career. But the first race is Kansas, and he only has 2 top 10s at Kansas in his career. One of those did come in the fall of 2022. So not all is lost there, but one promising side is Chastain did lead some laps in this race in the spring, so they had some speed there. But once again, the speed has not been there recently. They finished 27th in the spring, 16th last fall, 15th in the spring before, so they haven't had a lot of speed there. But if they can bring something Chastain brings, if they can, if Chastain misses the playoffs and all the focus is on Suarez, maybe that can help him out a bit. But these next 2 races, you're going to have to rely on, once again, the super speedway. Daniel Suárez has 3 top 10s in the last 4 races at Talladega. He's just going to have to rely on super speedways and road courses these first 2 rounds, just to be brutally honest. The Roval numbers aren't as pretty. He has yet to get a top 10 there, but he did start 3rd in the last 2 races there, so there's a sign of hope. There's a sign of things going right. He's scored stage points. He's run up front, just things go wrong. Mechanical failure. I remember 2 years ago at that race, he had a mechanical failure. So Daniel Suárez, ultimately, these first 2 rounds, he's going to have to heavily lean on the road courses and the super speedways in order to score enough points, and you can afford a meh to bad race. You can't afford a disaster at Kansas or Bristol, but you can afford a 19th, 20th, maybe even the 22nd. But you can't afford much worse than that because you'll be losing points. And ultimately at Kansas, I don't think you can even afford a 22nd. You're going to have less guys in the field. The gap to the playoff cutoff line is going to be bigger. You need as many points as you can get. And into this round of 8, yeah, he needs a win. Straight up, Daniel Suárez needs a win. Everyone else we talk about, except for like Truex at this point, is going to need a win. Not a lot of playoff points here. Yeah, you just need a win. I will say I think Las Vegas is that best opportunity at the opener. I remember in the fall of 2022, Daniel Suárez led a good 31 laps in that race, ran top 5 most of that race before ultimately finishing 16th. He has a top 10 in the spring of 2023, but other than that, the numbers don't back this. But as I said, I look at that fall 22 race. He did so good there. He led laps. He drove up to the front on speed. Chastain had a ton of speed. Trackhouse has hit it at Las Vegas before. They don't have a win there, but Chastain was one of the fastest in the spring and the fall that year, and Suarez was really fast in the fall. So ultimately, I just think it's going to come down to Las Vegas. Homestead, yeah, obviously he could win any one of these 3, but Homestead, he got a top 10 in 22. Other than that, nothing impressive. Martinsville, yeah, he hasn't scored a top 10 since 2019. So ultimately, it's going to be a must-win. And I think Las Vegas is that best opportunity, but you never know. And let's say Daniel Suárez, he achieves the impossible. He gets to the round of 8. He wins at Las Vegas, and he goes to the Championship 4. Well, Championship 4, anything's possible. People could crash out. People could, spin, mechanical failures. But remember, Daniel Suárez's teammate, Ross Chastain, he is the defending winner of this race. They hit on it last year, and if they can hit on it again, you never know. Daniel Suárez could pull off the miracle. So that Daniel Suárez's realistic long shot path to the championship, survival is the first 2 rounds, but you're going to have to heavily lean on those road courses and super speedways because ultimately that is your strength. And then as for the round of 8, it's going to come down to a win, and I think that ultimately your best chance is Vegas. And if you win that, Phoenix, anything can happen. But if you can bring some decent speed, it's a 1-race shootout. You've got a shot. So that's Daniel Suárez's championship case. Tomorrow we have Austin Cindric. That'll be fun, hopefully. Yeah, we're almost done for a bit until someone else locks in. If Truex wins at Richmond, then we'll do Truex on Monday. But thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow. As I said, Austin Cindric.